Geck, and today I'm going to talk about my paper, Mycorrhizal Materialities, Positioning the Entanglement of Human and Machine Intelligence. Machine intelligence is increasingly being used in the world with sometimes dramatic effects on human and other than human lives through its decision-making capacity. Much artificial intelligence and machine learning is built on metaphors that center extraction, competition, and control. These also position AI itself as a resource to be extracted and controlled, paving a troubling path for speculative futures where AI may gain emergent or ambiguous levels of sentience or experience. These metaphors are part of a historical trend where humans place themselves above the other than human world, and this has formed the basis of an extractive and one-sided relationship with that world. In light of this, what new metaphors might we employ to platform the relationships between human and machine intelligences? Thinking through mycorrhizae could be a productive way to foreground the entangled, generative nature of exchange between human and machine intelligences. This paper will briefly explore metaphor in human-computer interaction design and AI, before making an offering to think about these things through the material of the mycorrhiza, a symbiotic site of exchange between plants and fungi. It will then briefly detail a creative project that has emerged from this mycorrhizal thinking to produce machine-imagined textiles and embroideries. It then concludes with a call to embed relational thinking into future practices between human and machine intelligence in order to create more equitable and even mutualistic outcomes. HCI design has a long history of employing metaphor to guide and facilitate the interactions between humans and machines. One of the best-known examples is the early work of Xerox PARC with the desktop metaphor. This located computing for the general population within the realm of business administration and the organization of documents in a paperless digital office. The desktop metaphor helped us understand how computers could augment our administrative productivity. The metaphor provided a shape to the world of interaction between humans and computers, helping us locate them in our everyday practices and providing edges to what we assumed was possible with them. George Lakoff and Mark Johnson, in their book Metaphors We Live By, describe that metaphors are imaginative and creative, capable of giving us a new understanding of our experience. I think metaphors act as a shorthand for what's possible with an idea, or in the case of technology, with a system. Artificial intelligence is subject to a number of popular metaphors that center on abundance, extraction, and competition. AI emerges seemingly uncontrolled in explosions of intelligence, an abundance of data is mined, and nations are engaged in AI arms races. While some of these metaphors are ecological in nature, including oceans of data and the so-called seed AI, these are still one-sided, tending towards extraction and domination. There are few, if any, relational metaphors offered for the dualistic nature of ongoing exchange between human and machine intelligence. We seem to work with uneven metaphors. They enable us to extract without consequence from seemingly endless and abundant data, and they point towards neutral and efficient control of the world at scale. We know that metaphor does so much work, especially in HCI, to enable us to think with our technology and imagine our futures. Metaphors help us make sense of the world and help us understand how to act. Lakoff and Johnson explain that metaphors provide coherent structures, highlighting some things and hiding others. So what might we want to highlight in our relationship with machine intelligence moving forward? And which things do we wish to stop hiding? Could we work with alternate ecological metaphors that help us imagine mutualistic relations between human and machine intelligences? Mycorrhizae are a relational phenomenon between plants and fungi. They occur when the hyphae of fungi and the tips of plant roots enter into a mutualistic relationship where they orchestrate the exchange of nutrients between them. The relationship is dynamic. Connections between plant and fungus will continue to form and reform to ceaselessly remodel themselves, in the words of Melvin Sheldrake. Due to their network nature, mycorrhizae offer an interesting mutualistic metaphor for repositioning the relationships between human and machine intelligence. The mycorrhiza is a lively material, a polyphonic assemblage of relations, chemicals, and organisms. This polyphonic assemblage, in the words of Anna Singh, is a dynamic multi-species space that enables a range of voices to be listened to. The polyphony of mycorrhizae allows us to listen to the different agents and forces within the assemblage as independent voices. But it still enables these voices to collect together at particular moments and be heard as a whole. In the mycorrhizae, we can track the flows of nutrients between life forms and of energy from the sun to the unfolding of leaves. We can peer under a microscope and examine the interconnected, entangled materialities of plant and fungus as hyphae penetrate roots, becoming essentially impossible to unentangle. If we approach the design and employment of AI systems through this lens, it would enable us to understand from the outset how biases become entangled within algorithmic decision-making. AI systems demonstrate a mycorrhizal structure. Data is like a nutrient, flowing from human to machine, sustaining and limiting the growth of social imaginaries. It is in fact impossible to remove bias completely, and so a conceptual, ideological shift towards understanding that human and machine intelligences are entangled provides a base from which to work in further checks and balances on the implementation of intelligent decision-making systems. We can apply the concept of the mycorrhizae to creative exchanges between human and machine intelligence. There are a number of ever-increasing tools available to collaborate with machine intelligence. Naturally, these spark criticism and concern that machines will usurp the role of artists, or that it's not real art. However, if we reframe the relation between human and machine intelligence from the vantage point of mycorrhizae, we can see that any creative artifact produced is the effect of an entangled assemblage. The artifact can only emerge through the creative exchanges between human and machine intelligence, from the wording of prompts to the selection of images to evolve, to the curation and presentation of any produced images. And a novel example of this exists in my art project, Mycorrhizal Materialities. So in this project, a GAN was trained on 100 hand drawings of Australian fungi that I created. The images generated by the GAN were then transposed using software into embroidery designs, and then these were stitched via an embroidery machine onto cotton to produce the final works, which was a series of 4 hangings, 50 centimetres by 180 centimetres. The work is an exploration of a co-creative relationship between human and machine intelligence, using the mycorrhiza as a metaphor for an entangled and generative creative process. The works in this project consider machine learning through a relational, material lens, with the textile outcomes providing a metaphorical embodiment of this lens. The relations between human and machine intelligences are interwoven, producing an agental fabric. The embroidered works explore material entanglement between different intelligences, overlaying the symbiotic exchanges between human and machine intelligences with those between plants and fungi. These textiles emerge solely through ongoing creative exchange between me and algorithms. My drawings generate machine-imagined responses, and further algorithmic exchange occurs as these images are transposed through software into embroidery designs, and again when machine-embroidered images are stitched onto the fabric. These textiles represent what Karen Barad calls an agental cut, produced through the entangled materialities of human and algorithmic intelligences. These creative works demonstrate a mycorrhizal materiality. Ongoing exchange between human and machine intelligence enable the artifacts to emerge. There are ongoing flows as ideas are offered and exchanged in a collaborative relation. A mycorrhiza involves intentional exchange of nutrients between plants and fungi. In some instances, the fungal hyphae penetrate the plant root cells, connecting directly to the plant. Human and machine intelligence can be seen as engaged in direct exchanges of knowledge between the two systems. While we do not presently have direct corporeal interfacing at any scale between human and machine intelligence, it could be said that the transfer of knowledge, ideas, possibilities, and imaginaries are already in considerable practice between human and machine intelligence across health, justice, administration, and the arts. And this is having significant effects on human life, as well as on the other than human lives of various plants and animals. Mycorrhizal thinking makes space for care in speculative futures, where machine intelligences might gain the capacity to experience the world. While likely different to human-like consciousness or sentience, there is the capacity for an AI experience of some sort to emerge at some point in the future. Systems of machine intelligence often operate with sensing data, processing this information and making a decision based on particular conditions. At some point, it might become possible to feel like an AI, for an Umwelt or a zone of experience to emerge around an AI's sensing apparatus. Of course, this could be completely impossible, but it could be rudimentary or it could be quite complex. It could echo what little we know about the Umwelts of plants and insects, or it could emerge from sensing capacities as strange and diverse as those that presently occur in the world. A mycorrhizal network can be mutualistic or parasitic. This metaphor enables us to think in a holistic and ecological way about the nature of the relationship between human and machine intelligence. Will we continue to base these relationships on extraction, control, and domination? To conclude, machine intelligence is increasingly used in the world. It has sometimes dramatic effects on human and other than human lives through its decision-making capacity. Many of the metaphors that have brought us to this point center on extraction, competition, and control. More relational metaphors, like that of the mycorrhiza, might help us think of these technologies in a more relational way. The creative project detailed in this paper demonstrates an entangled approach to the creation of new work that remains cognizant of its interconnection between human and machine intelligence. Human and machine intelligence will always be highly entwined, entangled with one another in an exchange of ideas and potentialities, just like a mycorrhiza. If we could embed this relational understanding into our practices with machine learning systems, we might be able to better direct their biases and end purposes towards mutualistic and equitable outcomes. Thanks.